So if you'd like to get started, Superintendent John Perales, representing Measure U.
Thank you. My name is John Perales. I'm the superintendent of the high school district, today here serving as a volunteer for Measure U. I think one of the themes that you heard this evening was a lack of facilities and the need for facilities. We currently have had Measure G for the last 2 years, and we have done a very good job with that. We have been very fiscally responsible with that, and we have much to show our community for that measure. Now with Measure U, it must carry us to the next step, which would incorporate science classrooms, science laboratories, special education facilities. These are absolutely critical to our next steps and are desperately needed, and social studies classrooms. Just yesterday, we had one of our young teachers, first-year teachers, fall because of the condition of the flooring in her classroom. And that's the social studies area. So it shows you the desperate need that we have for building additional classrooms that would house and remove teachers that are teaching in classrooms that are probably, we would estimate 50 plus years old, maybe more. Somebody said they were brought in after the war. I'm not quite sure about that. But that is a desperate need of ours, and these Measure U would help us achieve those needs. Lastly, there are desperate needs in other areas. We are the only public swimming pool in the county, and we need to address that as well.
Thank you. Question number 1. The taxpayers of this county passed Measure G for $42 million 2 years ago. Would you explain a little more why you are coming back to the voters for additional funding?
Absolutely. It's a great question. As I mentioned earlier, Measure G has gotten us to a certain point, but there are still desperate needs. Those, to be more specific, would include renovation of our science classrooms to bring them up to date, and an addition of 4 or 5 brand new science classrooms that we are lacking. Once we adopted the A through G requirements, we saw a significant bump in students enrolled in science and in foreign language, for example, and we need to address those needs. Right now, we don't have the facility for our special education students. Everything is done by hand. We don't have the hoists. We don't have the toileting machinery or equipment needed for that, and our students deserve that and deserve better. So we're coming back to you because there are still many outstanding needs in our district.
Thank you. The second question with a 90-second response. Based on projected growth, how will Measure U accommodate the increase in student population?
That's a very good question as well. Keeping an eye on Proposition 51, which is a state bond, it looks like it may not pass, which is going to add a sense of urgency because that we would be missing those monies from California for facilities. Given the growth that was talked about earlier, we are fearful that we will not be able to accommodate students in the coming years. As of today, we are at capacity. With a roving teacher schedule, we may be able to accommodate several, 100 more students, but that means teachers don't have a prep in their classroom. And that's something that we're not quite sure we want to go unless we have to go there. So we must address the increase in student population by adding additional classrooms with the Measure U and planning for that in the stages of addressing science and special ed needs.
Thank you.